Leah had always been drawn to the beauty of the wilderness, so when she heard about an old trail deep within Pinehaven Forest, she couldn't resist. The stories she had heard about the trail were both enchanting and mysterious, filled with tales of breathtaking views and hidden dangers. It was said that the trail was a well-kept secret, known only to a few seasoned hikers who had ventured deep into the heart of the forest. The trail was known for being hard to find, but supposedly it led to a breathtaking overlook few people had seen. The allure of discovering something so rare and untouched by the masses was too tempting for Leah to pass up. She had always been an adventurer at heart, seeking out the unknown and reveling in the thrill of exploration. Armed with her backpack and a sense of adventure, Leah set off early in the afternoon. She had packed all the essentials: a map, a compass, some snacks, and plenty of water. She felt prepared for whatever the forest might throw at her. The excitement of the journey ahead filled her with a sense of purpose and determination. The forest was stunning at first, with towering trees that reached up to the sky, their branches swaying gently in the breeze. The sunlight filtered through the leaves, casting dappled shadows on the forest floor. Leah marveled at the beauty around her, feeling a deep connection to nature. She took her time, savoring the sights and sounds of the forest, feeling at peace with the world. The air was crisp, filled with the scent of pine and damp earth, and the only sounds were the soft chirping of birds and the rustle of leaves underfoot. It was a symphony of nature, a soothing melody that calmed her mind and invigorated her spirit. Leah felt a sense of tranquility wash over her as she walked deeper into the forest. As Leah walked, she felt a sense of peace, unaware of the danger that lurked ahead. She was lost in her thoughts, reflecting on the beauty of the world and the joy of discovery. Little did she know, the forest had its own plans for her, plans that would soon turn her peaceful hike into a harrowing ordeal. Hours passed, and the trail became more difficult to follow. The once clear path was now obscured by overgrown vegetation and fallen branches. Leah had to rely on her instincts and the occasional marker to stay on course. She felt a growing sense of unease, but she pushed it aside, determined to reach the overlook. The dense canopy above blocked out much of the sunlight, casting eerie shadows on the forest floor. The forest seemed to grow darker and more foreboding with each step. Leah's sense of direction began to waver, and she found herself questioning whether she was still on the right path. The sweet scent of pine slowly turned sour, and the ground became softer as though it had rained recently. The air grew heavy with moisture, and a thick mist began to settle over the forest. Leah's footsteps became sluggish, and she had to exert more effort to move forward. The once inviting forest now felt like a labyrinth, designed to trap and confuse her. Leah checked her watch. Time had slipped away and the sun was already beginning to set. Panic began to creep in as she realized how far she still had to go. She quickened her pace, hoping to find the overlook before darkness fell. But as she pressed on, the trail seemed to disappear before her eyes. That's when she noticed something strange. The path ahead had vanished. It was as if the forest itself had conspired to erase any trace of the trail. Leah's heart raced as she scanned her surroundings, trying to find any sign of the path she had been following. What was once a clear trail was now nothing but dense, tangled undergrowth. The vegetation seemed to close in around her, making it nearly impossible to move forward. Leah felt a sense of dread wash over her as she realized she was truly lost. Confused, Leah turned around, but the path she had come from was gone as well. It was as though the forest had swallowed it whole. She felt a rising sense of panic as she tried to retrace her steps, but every direction looked the same. The forest had become a maze, and she was trapped in its depths. It was as though the forest had swallowed it whole. The trees seemed to close in around her, their branches reaching out like skeletal fingers. Leah's breathing grew shallow as she realized the gravity of her situation. She was alone, lost, and at the mercy of the forest. Panic gripped her as the daylight faded, casting long, twisted shadows through the trees. The once beautiful forest had transformed into a nightmarish landscape, filled with unseen dangers. Leah's mind raced as she tried to think of a way out, but the forest seemed to conspire against her at every turn. The air grew colder, and with it came an unsettling sound, soft at first, like a whisper on the wind, but growing louder. Leah strained to hear, her heart pounding in her chest. The sound was unlike anything she had ever heard, a low, guttural growl that sent shivers down her spine. It was a low, guttural growl, followed by the snapping of branches. Leah's fear turned to terror as she realized she was not alone. Something was out there, stalking her through the forest. She called out, hoping to find another hiker or a way back to safety, but her voice seemed to be absorbed by the trees. Leah called out, but her voice seemed to be absorbed by the trees. The forest was eerily silent, as if it were holding its breath, waiting for something to happen. Leah's mind raced as she tried to think of a way to escape, but the growling grew louder and she knew she had to act fast. She began to run, her feet sinking into the soft, wet ground. The forest seemed to close in around her, the trees forming a dense wall that blocked her path. Leah's heart pounded in her chest as she pushed herself to keep moving, her fear driving her forward. The growling grew louder, now accompanied by heavy, laboured breathing. Whatever was chasing her was getting closer, and Leah knew she couldn't outrun it forever. She had to find a way to escape, but the forest offered no refuge. Whatever it was getting closer. Leah's mind raced as she tried to think of a way to evade her pursuer. She darted through the trees, her breath coming in ragged gasps. The forest seemed to close in around her, guiding her deeper into its depths. Her heart raced as she stumbled through the forest, but no matter how far she ran, the trees seemed to close in around her, guiding her deeper into the woods. Leah's fear turned to desperation as she realized she was being herded, like prey being driven into a trap. The sound of crashing footsteps followed her, something huge and unseen moving just out of sight. Leah's mind conjured images of monstrous creatures lurking in the shadows, waiting to pounce. She pushed herself to run faster, her legs burning with effort. The air was thick with the stench of decay, and Leah could barely breathe. The forest seemed to be closing in around her, the trees forming a suffocating barrier. Leah's vision blurred as she struggled to find a way out, her fear threatening to overwhelm her. Just when she thought she couldn't run any further, she saw it, a faint light through the trees. It was a beacon of hope, a sign that there was a way out. Leah summoned the last of her strength and sprinted toward the light, her heart pounding with anticipation. Summoning the last of her strength, she sprinted toward it. The light grew brighter as she approached, and Leah felt a surge of hope. She pushed herself to run faster, her fear giving way to determination. Bursting through the underbrush, she found herself at the edge of the forest, gasping for air. The open space felt like a sanctuary, a safe haven from the horrors of the forest. Leah collapsed to the ground, her body trembling with exhaustion and relief. She had made it out, but the sound of that growl still echoed in her ears. The memory of the chase haunted her, a reminder of the dangers that lurked in the forest. Leah knew she would never forget the terror she had experienced, and she vowed to never venture into the woods alone again. Have you ever found yourself hopelessly lost in the woods? The feeling of isolation and fear can be overwhelming, a reminder of how small and vulnerable we are in the face of nature's power. Leah's experience serves as a cautionary tale, a reminder to always be prepared and to respect the wilderness. Beware, stay vigilant, because there are terrifying creatures in the woods that few have ever seen and lived to talk about. The forest holds many secrets, and not all of them are meant to be discovered. Leah's story is a testament to the unknown dangers that lurk in the shadows, waiting for the unwary traveler. If you enjoyed this story, please subscribe and follow us for more. We have many more tales of adventure and terror, each one more thrilling than the last. Join us as we explore the unknown and uncover the mysteries of the world. Join us on TikTok and YouTube for more bone-chilling chronicles, if you dare!